Sorry, Andor. Star Trek. Picard did Bix's ending 2 years ago, and better. Star Wars fans may still be reeling from the intricate storytelling of Andor, the prequel series that finally gave Cassian Andor a deeply human, morally complex journey. But here's the thing. While Andor delivered heartbreak and redemption in its own meticulous, slow-burn fashion, there's a quiet reminder in the Star Trek universe that sometimes these stories were told and wrapped up years earlier with a similar emotional punch and arguably a more satisfying resolution. Enter Bix Colleen and Star Trek. Picard. When Andor reached its climax, fans were faced with the inevitability of Cassian's path, a mix of heroism and tragedy, underscored by the weight of a galaxy at war. The series doesn't shy away from the cost of rebellion. Andor's arc is painful because it is realistic, gritty, and devoid of Hollywood gloss. In many ways, this is what modern television strives to achieve: morally gray protagonists, the stakes of systemic injustice, and the raw heartbreak of lives lost to the machinery of conflict. But Star Trek had been quietly playing this game for years. Bix Colleen's story in Star Trek. Picard's first season mirrors Andor in more ways than casual viewers might notice. Bix, a character introduced as a peripheral figure in Jean-Luc Picard's post-Starfleet life, is thrust into a maelstrom of political intrigue, corporate exploitation, and existential threat. Her ending, revealed gradually through Picard's investigation and reflection, embodies the duality of hope and sacrifice, a hallmark of the very best character arcs in speculative fiction. What Picard does better, and where Andor struggles in comparison, is how it weaves the personal stakes into a larger narrative tapestry without losing intimacy. Bix's resolution doesn't come from a heroic last stand in the middle of a battlefield, nor from a shocking, tragic twist that leaves viewers stunned. Instead, it arrives through quiet, almost poetic closure. She survives, changed but unbroken, having affected those around her in meaningful ways. Her journey validates the sacrifices made along the way, providing an emotional payoff that lingers long after the credits roll. Contrast this with Andor. The series revels in meticulous world-building and relentless tension, which is both its strength and weakness. Every step of Cassian's journey is fraught with peril, yes, but it sometimes risks overshadowing the very human connections that make the ending resonate. When Andor reaches the inevitable point of no return, viewers are left to digest a mix of catharsis and despair, a powerful, if somewhat heavy, conclusion. Picard, by contrast, gives Bix a resolution that is not only satisfying but emotionally generous, allowing audiences to exhale while still honoring the narrative's gravity. Another key difference lies in narrative economy. Star Trek. Picard understands the power of subtlety. Bix's story is never forced into the foreground. It unfolds organically through Picard's perspective, secondary characters, and carefully placed exposition. This mirrors classic Star Trek storytelling, where the journey is often as compelling as the climax, and every plot beat has resonance beyond the immediate plot. Andor, while brilliant in scope, sometimes indulges in over-elaboration, extending the suspense at the expense of emotional clarity. Picard's Bix, in contrast, benefits from a narrative that knows exactly when to step back and let the characters' actions speak for themselves. Perhaps the most poignant similarity and difference between Bix and Andor's journeys is the thematic undertone of sacrifice for a greater cause. Both characters navigate morally complex worlds, and both must weigh personal desire against collective necessity. Yet Bix's conclusion emphasizes restoration and continuity over despair. Whereas Andor leaves viewers reflecting on the harsh reality of resistance and mortality, Bix's ending suggests that even in the aftermath of corporate malfeasance and political corruption, there is room for personal triumph, reconciliation, and even quiet hope. It's a nuanced, more optimistic take on a similar moral framework, a reminder that Star Trek has long been ahead of its time in blending philosophical reflection with character-driven storytelling. This is not to say Andor fails. Far from it. The series is a masterclass in tension, moral ambiguity, and cinematic world building. But when it comes to endings, the crucial moment that defines how a story lingers in the imagination, Star Trek, Picard's treatment of Bix's arc demonstrates how restraint, perspective, and emotional intelligence can transform a conclusion from mere plot resolution into a deeply satisfying emotional experience. Picard didn't just finish Bix's story. It honored it, giving weight to her choices, consequences, and humanity in a way that resonates more fully than the relentless, high-stakes grind of Andor. In the end, fans of both franchises can conclude too,